everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be going over the books I read in the month of January. Let's start this whole thing of, oh my god, I can't believe the last month is over again. I can't believe January is over. Like, it has just been a shitstorm. I read a total of 5 books in the month of January. I didn't really do much reading in the first week or so, and I had to put my foot down and go, Kayla, you need to start reading. You're already a book behind schedule of your Goodreads goal. The first book I read in 2017 was Vicious by V.E. Schwab. This is about 2 people, Victor and Eli, who they go on a journey to discover how to make extraordinary people that have sort of like powers. And it's very much a flashback type of story where you have the main storyline that's happening in the here and now, and then what happened back in school back in the day to bring them to where they are today. This is very much a journey of both men going on their adventure to discover how to make themselves extraordinary people, accomplishing that, and then what they do with it afterwards. This book is full of morally gray characters, which I absolutely love. I love the fact that both the characters in this book, it's hard to tell which one's like the antagonist. I mean, the main character is Victor and the secondary character is Eli, but they both have their moments of being the protagonist and antagonist, sort of. This book very much goes over their journey to get where they are today. Victor has been in prison and Eli has been killing people. I very much enjoyed this story. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I found the morally gray characters very, very fascinating. I really liked reading about that. I definitely recommend this book if you're into morally gray characters and figuring out how people or why people do the things they do within that concept of morality and within the scope of superpowers. Next, I finished Winter by Marissa Meyer. I was originally about 220 odd pages into this book, but I decided to start over again, so I reread those first 200-ish pages and then I read through the rest of it. This is a very, very long book. It is so long. I think that is one of my critiques with this. Like, I love the story, I love what happened, but I found that as I was getting to half the story, I was like, really? This is only halfway through? There's just so much book left, so much. There was a lot of stuff that happened in this book, and while I thoroughly enjoyed this book, I do have that critique about it. There were so many things that could have been cut out. Put it on the cutting room floor. The movie went too long. The book went too long. It definitely had an interesting ending. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I know I have given all the other books except for Fairest a 5 out of 5 stars. Fairest I gave a 4 out of 5 stars because I don't know why. I forget. But yeah, I do critique it for being long, and I was kind of getting bored with it, trying to push myself to read the ending. Just get it done. But I'm glad I'm finally finished this book series. I finished a book series, guys. Oh, my second one ever. Well, third, really, but I'm not counting Twilight. I definitely will have to get my hands on Stars Above, but I'm not in a hurry. Oh, that was so exciting to be able to get most of my TBR done. I did have 3 books on my TBR. Those 2 were on it, and I read them. The third one was Philip K. Dick, and unfortunately I DNF'd this because I just wasn't feeling it. It was getting a little boring, like what the hell am I reading type thing. I got about 22 pages in, which this book is about 220 pages. So 22 pages is kind of just a little bit significant. I was interested in the concept of it, but then we started getting into background information about some Nazi guy in the past, and I just was, why am I reading this? I don't know. I was looking forward to reading some vintage sci-fi, but I think there might be other vintage sci-fi out there that would be best suited for me. I just didn't enjoy this. It was getting a little boring to me, and I didn't want to push myself to read it, so I put it down. First DNF of the year. It's okay. I tried. These next 2 books I actually were my only 2 purchases of this month using gift cards, so technically I didn't pay for anything myself. But, you know, book haul time. I got these 2 books this month. The first is Dusk or Dark or Dawn or Day by Seanan McGuire. This is an urban fantasy novella of hers that came out this month. It came out in paperback and it was still bloody expensive. It was $22.99 Canadian. But you know, I got gift cards. I enjoyed the story. It was very, very hard to read the beginning part because I ended up picking this book straight after having a bit of a low period with my depression. I had a mental breakdown happen, and it was hitting a little too hard with the trigger warnings of the topic of suicide. The fact that this book is dedicated for everyone who has been tempted to go and has found the strength to stay. I will see you tomorrow. I read that, and then the very first page talks about the main character, Jenna. Her sister committed suicide. This line was just like, Patty died far away in the big city where Jenna begged her not to go, the victim of the sadness that grew in her own body, in her own bones, until she picked up a knife as sharp as the end of the world. That part got to me a lot. I enjoyed the story for what it was. Ends up being that Jenna dies soon after her sister, and she becomes a ghost because she has to make up for the years that she never got to live because she died too soon. She died too soon. It wasn't her time to go, and so she has to live her life as a ghost until she takes enough time into herself from other people to reach her death day. And Jenna's the sort of ghost that feels like she has to earn it. She can't just like take it from people. So she volunteers at a suicide hotline. And if she feels like she has sufficiently helped someone, she'll allow those minutes that she used talking on the phone to take from someone and take them onto herself. Until one day the ghosts all disappear. And somehow Jenna has to be the one to figure out what is going on. There is also witches in this book. I enjoyed the concept of this book, the world building and like the ghosts and the witches, but I found that the book near the end became a little too predictable in my opinion. Like, I saw where this book was going. And it's a short novella. It's like 182 pages, and I was definitely seeing where this was going, and I kind of predicted the ending. Also, I do have to critique, and this has got nothing to do with the author or the story, but to the publisher, the fact that this is a trade paperback, expensive novella, and in my opinion, it is not printed well. All of the printing looks crooked in my opinion, especially on the pages. If you can see, this is closer to this than it is up here. It's just a minor critique, the fact that it looks self-published, and this is from Tor.com publishing. Like, they publish the novellas and stuff. I kind of expect a little better, especially paying over $20 for it. If that makes me a book snob, I don't know. I don't know if that took away anything, but I ended up giving this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And of course, I got the paperback version of The Sudden Appearance of Hope by Clara North, which I have been anticipating it coming out on paperback because it is another Clara North novel. Now, at first glance, I could tell that this book was about a girl named Hope who had the ability to be forgotten. The girl who the world forgets. You will meet Hope, and then once she's out of your mind, and well, out of your sight really, you forget her. You forget that you had conversations with her. And that concept was very intriguing to me. Unfortunately, that wasn't the most important part of the story. That was just an added perk. to the story. Hope is a thief. She's kind of had to be one in order to live her life, and so the story starts off with her wanting to steal some really expensive diamonds off a princess, I guess. This story mainly focuses on something called Perfection, and it is an app and a sort of social hierarchy ranking system that molds the shape of the world in sort of a brainwashy kind of way. You download this app on your phone and it'll tell you, you know, what you could be doing to improve your life, what you should be eating, what gyms you should join, and you get points after out of these things, and if you don't do them, you lose points. It's very much a anthropological, philosophical way of trying to figure out what exactly perfection is and how it molds society, and Hope tries to destroy it because she feels it caused someone to commit suicide because she felt like she wasn't perfect. I enjoyed the aspects of it that were talking about, like, the concepts I pulled from it are of hegemony and a different way of thinking, and it's very much a brainwashy type of way of living that we're currently seeing in the real world. It's a bit real, a bit too much real. I enjoyed it for that, but it got to a point where I was just growing tired of the story. It's in Claire North's pacing that she likes to write in. I didn't mind it so much with Harriet August, and with Touch it was getting a bit long, and this one I was growing bored. There's not much back and forth flashback type story that the previous books have had. There's a little bit, but not that much. The last half of the book just got a bit boring, and then the climax of the story near the end it just felt unsatisfying. The main character witnesses the climax of everything happening as a witness, unable to do anything about it, and then the story continues on for another 100 pages for who knows what reason. I ended up giving this book a 2 out of 5 stars. It was okay, not the best thing I've read. It was kind of disappointing. It has points for some diversity. The main character is a person of color. I believe she is half Sudanese, so she's half black. Her mother comes from Sudan. She speaks Arabic. I also love that these stories take place all over the world. The story starts off in Dubai, and then it goes to Oman, and then to Egypt, and then to Tokyo, and then the US, and then England, and then France, and then Italy. Like, it goes all over the place, so it gets points for that, though it's always been an interesting thing to read of Claire North's stories, that it does take place in a wide variety of places around the world. But like I said, it was kind of a disappointing read just because I wanted to read more about her ability, and that wasn't the bulk of the story for me. This last book I'm going to talk about very quickly because I've read it a gazillion times. I probably won't read it again just because I have read it a gazillion times. I ended up giving it 2 out of 5 stars just because it was okay this time around. This book, the first Harry Potter book. I'm reading the Harry Potter series, not trying to make a big deal out of it, but there are reasons for reading this. And that is that in September, I am going to Book Net Fest in Orlando, Florida, September 1st and 2nd. September 1st, we're going to Universal Studios to Harry Potter Land. So I cannot, in good conscience, go to Harry Potter World, Land, whatever you want to call it, without finishing the books. I can't. I just can't. So I'm forcing myself to read them. I might skip a few just because, based on reading this, I'm like, okay, I've read the story a gazillion times. I might start the next one with 4, but I might read 3 because 3 is always a good favorite of mine. I'm not prepared. So that are those are the 5 books I read in January. Go me. I read books. I read books. I'm not behind. I am not behind in anything right now. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!